Hi, I am Brian Miller. I'm the park superintendent here at Pomme de Terre State Park. In this video, we're going to give you an opportunity to see some of the facilities that we have while we're here, check out some of the projects that we're working on, and give you an opportunity to give us feedback. This park is an interesting park. It's different than some of the other parks around the state of Missouri. It's actually divided up in two different parts we call areas. One of those is called the Pittsburg area. The other is called the Hermitage area. And altogether they have 734 acres. Inside of those areas are 623 acres that are actively being protected and restored as stewardship areas. And so that's part of the work that we do, and here later on in the video I'll get to show you one of those areas and talk a little bit about the stewardship activities that go on there. We have 6 full-time employees at present. We also have 7 seasonal employees that help us do this job. That's our team. That's our team that works very hard to protect these resources and provide the recreational activities that you will enjoy. There are 5.3 miles of trail. 2 of those trails are on this. One is on this part, one is on the other area, one they call Indian Point Trail at the Pittsburg area, and one Cedar Bluff Trail that is at the Hermitage area. There are 2 campgrounds, and between those 2 campgrounds we have a total of 240 campsites. There are more campsites in this state park than any state park in Missouri. We have 4 camper cabins and 3 yurts on the Pittsburg side, as well as a full-service marina cabin just above the marina where you can come and stay for the weekend or however long you want to stay. There's also a lake house on the Hermitage side where you can come, as well as bringing your family and stay for a few days. We have 2 beaches here. This one, of course, is one of them. This is called the Hermitage Beach, and this is a huge beach. It goes from here all the way along the shoreline up here, one of the largest beaches in Missouri, as well as the Pittsburg Beach that is on the other side of the park. We have a full-service marina with a camper store inside of that, where you can get some of your supplies for the day and for the camping trip, as well as a grill restaurant inside that serves some of the best food on Pomme de Terre Lake. Also, we have another camper store on the Hermitage side that is next to the campground there, and they're going to provide you all kinds of supplies that you need for camping while you're here, as well as some awesome ice cream. And actually the marina has ice cream too, and it's some of the best. We also have a shelter house that is on the Pittsburg side that you can also rent that shelter for the day if you'd like, to have family reunions or other activities there. Or you can just come in and use it for the day. We also have a picnic area on the Hermitage side that you can bring your family down and just enjoy a picnic together. We also have boat ramps on both sides of the park, both public boat ramps where anybody can use those and access those, as well as some boat ramps, a boat ramp on each side that is for the campers that come and use our facilities. So that just gives you a general idea of what the facilities we have at the state park. And here in the future, in the video ahead, we're going to get a chance to go to some of those locations and find out what the projects that we are working on here at Pomme de Terre State Park. Here we are now at the Hermitage Campground. The Hermitage Campground is very active this time of year and has a lot of campers using it throughout the summer months. But here I chose to show you one of our campsites while we're talking about some of the projects that we've worked on over the last year. One of the projects that we worked on and we continue to work on, it's not completed yet, but we've been working on the courtesy dock at the Hermitage boat ramp. And that courtesy dock has had some damage and needed some repair due to flooding and trying to bring it up and down, a lot of wave action that hits that dock. And so we've purchased most of the supplies to do that project, and then over the late fall and early winter we will continue to work on that and hopefully complete that by next spring. We're also we already did continue to replace picnic tables, and we replaced 14 more picnic tables throughout the park over the last year. And we continue to deal with the emerald ash borer, and that's one of the reasons why I chose this location. If you see behind me, there's an ash tree here, and if you notice, a lot of those limbs are dead and dying on that tree, and this is exactly what we have seen over the last couple of years throughout this campground, as well as the Pittsburg campground. But it's really done more devastation on the Hermitage side due to a lot of ash trees being here and fewer trees overall. So as you see, that tree right there is likely going to have to be removed this next winter because by the time the next year rolls around, there's not going to be a tree there at all. It's going to die. So that's just part of this process of having this emerald ash borer that continues to attack our trees. And so that is frustrating for us, but it must be done. We must continue to remove these hazardous trees. We've also had a significant windstorm that occurred the week before 4th of July weekend, and so during that time we even had to bring in some other folks from other parks to remove some of those trees that were blown down in that storm. And that's just the many things that have occurred over the last few years to damage some of the trees that we have here at the Hermitage campground as well as the Pittsburg campground. So we did spend some time over that week and actually the weeks ahead cleaning up all of that storm debris. So that's the projects that we've been working on. We're now down at the Pittsburg campground, and I wanted to show you a couple of our small maintenance and repair projects. And this is one of those. This shower house here has new shingles put on it, and we also have another shower house here next to it that you can't see just out of the picture that also has new shingles on them. So this is just one of the many maintenance and repair projects that we worked on this last year. We are now down at the Pittsburg campground, and part of operating a campground includes how we manage the wastewater. And that's something that people don't often get to talk about, but here we have one of our small maintenance and repair projects for the year was to replace this pump that operates this wastewater system. And so if you're going to operate campgrounds, this is part of doing that. So here's one of the projects that we did for the year. One of the things that we do here at Pomme de Terre State Park is to manage the natural resources of the park. I'm standing in front of Pomme de Terre Savanna, and this area was just burned this last fall, actually. I think it was in December of this last year. And that's one of the things that we do. We burned 363 acres total in the park this last season. This was not the only unit. We have another unit over on the Hermitage side that we burned there as well. And as you can see, part of the restoration process is to restore prescribed fire. Fire is something that naturally existed for thousands of years, and so we are just putting that back into the system to make the system look more like it existed up to 200 years ago or so. And one of the other things that we do here to try to manage these natural resources is to protect them by controlling exotic species. This plant that I have in my hand is called Sericea lespedeza. It is one of the plants that we focus a lot of our time on in restoring the resource. In order to do that, we have to control this plant. And so we spend a lot of time in the summer controlling this, as well as some of the other exotic species in the park. If we did not control it, it would continue to take over and crowd out a lot of the other native species. So enjoy, when you're here, enjoy the natural resources that we have as well. I'm glad you stuck with me throughout this trip across the park. We've seen several different locations as we've went through this video. And to this point, we are now at the Pittsburg beach. And so you can see there's a fisherman looking, fishing out there in the water, and the dam is over here to the side. But this is just to give you another idea of some of the facilities that we have out here while we close this video. We have a lot of activities and projects that are coming up in the next few months. through this next season. So I thought I'd give you an idea of what some of those things are that we're working on. One of the main projects that we're going to work on this next winter is a dump station restoration at both the Pittsburg and the Hermitage side. If you've camped here with us before, you know that the dump stations were designed back in the 60s, and so in that case it shows us that those design facilities originally were established for smaller units, and so now we're looking at making those a little bit better, a little bit easier to access, and so that we can have more use in those and kind of facilitate travel better for traffic and things like that in and out of those dump stations. So both Pittsburg and Hermitage are going to be renovated. Hopefully those will be done by next spring. We'll also be making repairs to the roadways. One of those locations is at the Hermitage boat ramp. We've got some degradation of the pavement there, and so we're going to restore some of that and work on that, as well as a few other small locations at the fee booths and other places on the roads where we're going to work on those paved areas and make those a little better. Also, we plan to replace 15 more picnic tables. We replaced some of those picnic tables, as I said earlier in the video. Well, we're going to replace some more of those, and we're going to work on adding 7 more of the mini shelters that go over the picnic tables at Hermitage, because those are the locations that we've had to remove all the trees, as we mentioned earlier, and so we're going to build some little picnic shelters over those picnic tables to provide some of the shade for those areas. And we will have to continue to remove those hazardous ash trees that are remaining, as we mentioned earlier, that we've been working on. We still have some of those that need to be removed over the next winter, so we'll continue to work on that. And we will continue to plant additional trees to replace all of those trees that we've had to cut over the last few years due to the flood and the ash borer. So we're going to be replacing those with some more trees. It'll take a long time for those to grow up, but we have to start somewhere, so we're going to begin to plant a lot of those trees. Thank you for watching and attending our virtual public meeting presentation. Please feel free to share this link with your family and friends. We welcome your feedback, as this video will be posted until the end of the month. If you have any questions, you can reach out to the park office at 417-852-4291 or email us at Pomme de Terre State Park at dnr.mo.gov. You may also use the comments section to provide feedback focused on the operations at Pomme de Terre State Park. If you have other questions or comments, you can email moparks@dnr.mo.gov. The park contact information is also listed in this video description for your convenience. Thanks to the citizens of Missouri, our state parks and historic sites are supported by 0.5% of the parks, soils, and water sales tax. The sales tax allows free access to Missouri's 92 state parks and historic sites. Remember, you're always welcome in Missouri state parks.